Janusz Michallik is joining me, and Janusz, I'm sure you're absolutely buzzing because everyone watching Serie A this weekend was buzzing for yet another Milan derby, probably the biggest one in terms of what's on the line that we've seen in quite a while. The top two teams in the Serie A, and of course, everyone trying to see what will happen with Romelu Lukaku and Zlatan Ibrahimovic again. But guess what? This time it was all about Inter. Commanding 3-0 win, I would have to say, in this one, Janusz. Did that surprise you at all? And what kind of statement does this make for Inter?
Yeah, massive one. Now, truth be told, I was hoping that Milan were going to do a little bit better, of course. That's always the case when number one meets number two. But yeah, Inter really laid down a marker, didn't they? I mean, just pretty much going out there and saying, this is ours to lose. Come and get us. And it's going to be difficult, as we know. Antonio Conte, when you give him time to prepare for a match like this, he usually doesn't waste that, and that was the case. Of course, Milan at times were in the game, especially in the beginning of the second half, where Handanovic was absolutely tremendous on a couple of stops on Zlatan Ibrahimovic and another stop on Tonali. But for the most part, I think it went as expected, at least for me, because I think Stefano Pioli was a little bit naive in a way he set up for Inter, and Antonio Conte just kind of said, look, I love playing on the counter. I understand, Milan, that you like a high line and you have very little speed or pace in the back, if you will, and we're going to take advantage of that. And boy, oh boy, have they ever in that game. So a huge message, no questions about that, as it goes, 174th Milan derby for sure. So that in itself is a big message. But Inter looked the part and clearly deserved it.
Clearly deserved that win indeed. And like you said, there were so many storylines going into this one, whether Milan could do, the double, something they haven't been able to do in quite a while, whether we would see fireworks again from the likes of Zlatan and Lukaku. So many key matchups in this one. Which ones, I suppose, caught your eye and lived up to the expectations going into this?
Well, the one that we've talked about, Alexis, before, first and foremost, the style of play, because if you look at Antonio Conte, he would have been more than happy to sit back a little bit and allow Milan to possess the ball a little bit. And in fact, there were times where Milan actually looked well possessing the ball, but the more they possess the ball and the more players they send forward, the more I was worried that they're going to get caught, which they did. But I think before the game, we've talked about Achraf Hakimi against Theo Hernandez. Theo Hernandez needed to win that battle. He didn't. Defensively, he's not sufficient enough. But more importantly, I think Milan, if I look at Theo Hernandez, he's probably more than 50% of Milan's attack when you really think about it. And Achraf Hakimi was good defensively and still going forward when we saw in that third goal was tremendous as well. Zlatan against Lautaro, not Lautaro, I'm going to mention him in a second, but Zlatan against Lukaku, even if Lukaku didn't score a goal, how important was he in setting up the first one? It was absolutely tremendous. On the third one, he was key in terms of the hold-up play, allowing Hakimi to get forward, and then ultimately the goal was scored. And the third matchup was one that it wasn't really, because it was Lautaro Martinez, because Milan simply do not have another player like that can help Zlatan Ibrahimovic. So Zlatan lost against Lukaku for sure, but the story really was about Lautaro Martinez scoring a brace.
So Janusz, Inter now 4 points clear at the top of the Serie A. We know that this has been an interesting season, a more competitive season of sorts. They might be tempted to enjoy this breathing room that they've now put between themselves and Milan and the rest of the teams. But how much breathing room is it? Do you think that they can start thinking of possibly getting that Serie A title?
Of course not. It's just psychological, because at the end of the day, it's still only 4 points and many games to play for. But they have sent a message right now. And I think given the fact that Inter do not have to worry about any other competitions right now, plays into their hands. I've mentioned Antonio Conte and his ability to set up his team when you give him time. What does that mean? I mean, every manager would like that. But in today's environment, it's almost impossible, right? I mean, every manager in the world will tell you we have no time to train really, because we play games every 2 or 3 days. That's not the case. So they will not be taking that for granted, but a massive, massive boost right now, because Juventus are really nowhere near the sort of Juventus that has been winning now, seems like for ages, right? And if, when you look at everybody else, for Milan, I think they're going to have their struggles. They just need to manage expectations, right? Because they they are in a good space. I don't think we ever thought they will be where they are right now, but they also have to be careful, Alexis, if you're talking about Milan, don't you? Because, I mean, Roma's coming up next, and nobody wants to believe in Roma, but they keep on winning games. So they'll have a say, at least in terms of the top four. Who knows how that develops? So Inter, look, I just don't think that Antonio Conte strikes me as a manager that will allow this team to relax in any way.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.